So, for my research paper, I wrote about racial discrimination laws, mainly in the United States, but I used some examples from other countries and compared some differences. And guess what I liked the most was learning about the differences in different countries, how their laws differ from the United States, because a lot of the United States laws are pretty clear cut and block as much discrimination as possible while it still does continue. But they have good intentions with their laws, and I wrote part of my paper on Australia and showed some of the core differences between their laws. Like, one of our laws blocks a certain type of discrimination within racial discrimination. It's based off of your national origin, where you're from, your place of birth, like your background. And in Australia, while it's looked down upon to discriminate based off of this, it's actually not outlawed, and in the United States, it is outlawed. I'm sure this still happens. It's pretty hard to stop all of this, but in the United States, they at least put as many laws into place as possible that help fight these laws. So that was probably my favorite portion of the paper, was comparing countries and seeing the differences, and seeing different committees that are put into place. The United States has the EEOC, which is pretty much the police of racial discrimination in the United States, and they can sue and be anonymously called in to investigate and check out different countries and what they're doing right and wrong. Um, it was pretty easy overall. It wasn't a paper that I struggled to write. I wrote it pretty fast. One thing that I had trouble with was, so I did my annotated bibliography just like everyone else, and when I went back and tried to use some of the sources, I for some reason I couldn't, like when I would put in the link or whatever it was, it wouldn't actually connect me back to them. So I actually had to go back and do more research, which was nice in some aspects because I found some stuff that I didn't find the first time. But I still would have liked to use some of those old sources, some that I had already researched and in depthly looked at, and I could not find them. I would go back through jacket links and search them, and I just couldn't always seem to pin down the exact source. I'd say that was one of my least favorite things about the paper. I don't know what I need to do differently to make sure that I can find them. I'm not entirely sure, but a lot of them it would just come up and say this page can no longer be found, and I would check it, make sure it was done right, manually type it in, copy and paste, whatever it would be, and I couldn't find the source. So that was definitely irritating to say the least. So for future papers, I think I would definitely need to find a way to prevent this from happening. Maybe it's saving the tab as a favorite on my computer. That would probably be the best way to do it. Because I have a computer that I do all my work on. I don't go to the library or anything, so I could definitely save it as a favorite under the tab section on Google. What would I change? I would say changes that I would make. I would probably actually find more sources than I need. One problem that I encountered was a lot of the sources on the topic I was looking at were very similar to the others. It was hard to find differing information. A lot of them had a lot of it, some of them went in more detail. And so I think I would find different sources and probably use more court cases. More court cases surrounding, especially racial discrimination, something that there has been a ton of different court cases used. And I used one, but I would like to find more in the future because I think that that's something that would really further push forward the paper, and especially in the scenario that I was in. Um, Racial discrimination is a pretty controversial topic. Excuse me. And it would have been good to have court cases to represent how these laws were put in place and exactly what they do and what they enforce. I used a lot of examples. I probably would have found more examples if I went back, but overall, it wasn't an overly difficult paper. And I don't think I would change a ton. I used Grammarly on it, and that definitely greatly improved my actual writing itself because I think sometimes I type so fast that what I'm trying to say just is it's like a giant train of thought from my own brain, and it gets jumbled. But overall, it wasn't too bad of a paper. Thank you.